Parker, Colorado has been rated #2 in the best cities to live at in the country, and we're going to take a deep dive into Parker today. I love the town. Heck, we've been looking for a place in Parker the last couple of years, somewhere with land, but we're going to take a deep dive through this video and look at what its lifestyle is like, its affordability, and of course, its real estate. And during this video, we're going to compare Parker to the rest of the Denver suburbs to see how it stacks up. So if you're thinking of moving to Parker or just want to know more about the city, then this video is for you because we're going to cover all things about Parker, Colorado. I've been living here in the Denver metro area for about 25 years now, and I gotta say, even 10, 15 years ago, you didn't hear much about Parker, Colorado. And the reason is because where it's actually located around the Denver area. It's pretty far out there, at least it was 20 years ago. And the population has just soared over the last 30 years approximately. I'll show you the numbers here in a few, but it is wild to know how much Parker has grown. There's a lot of new build communities. There's a ton of properties that are 4 to 5 acres, so you can have from new build construction all the way to larger ranches. So it kind of fits most of the boxes of what people could be looking for. You've got a great downtown little area, so you kind of can stay in your own little bubble, yet if you have to go to Denver, it's about a 45-minute drive with traffic for the most part, depending on what part of Parker you're coming from. Remember, Parker takes up quite a bit of land. Further east, you have 4 to 5 acre properties and more. You have horse properties. You'll go out there and it's not uncommon to see people with Highland cows and llamas and sheep and goats. It feels like an interesting mix between urban and rural, I would say. And then you have all the new home communities built closer towards downtown Parker. So it really checks all the boxes for what a lot of people are looking for. And that's actually part of the reason why I do love the city of Parker. Its infrastructure is new. A lot of its buildings are fairly new, but yet they wanted to keep an old town sort of charm to it. Once again, this stacks up there with Littleton as far as being like a hallmark feeling little downtown area. And welcome, by the way, I'm Alex Saldana. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Denver metro area since 2010, and I've been helping hundreds of homeowners, buyers relocating to or around the Denver metro area. And if you're new here and you love great content about the Denver area, hit the like and subscribe button. Give me your feedback. Let me know what cities you want to hear about. But if you have any questions or anything specific, feel free. Shoot me a call, shoot me a text message. I'm just a phone call, email away, nights, days, weekends. I got you covered. So back to Parker. So Parker is located on the southeast part of the Denver metro area, just outside the 470 loop, which is new as of about 20 years ago approximately. So that's a toll road that goes around about 3/4 of the city. And your access to most things outdoors, from four-wheeling and horseback riding, hiking, is all relatively close. And there's going to be pockets all around Parker, so you're not going to have to drive very far for most outdoor activities. So 10, 15 minutes tops, you're going to typically be to where you want to be for those outdoor activities. Now, getting over to the mountains, it is a little bit more of a drive because you are on the other side of I-25. So to get to most of the foothills, you're going to have about a 40-minute drive west to get to most hiking, biking, and climbing. And if you're heading north to get to the Cherry Creek State Park area, it's about a 25-minute drive north. And if you're needing to head to downtown Denver from Parker around rush hour, it's going to be anywhere from a 40 to 60-minute drive. Now, other than that, if you're commuting out of Parker to your job, whether that's on the west side of Denver or the east side, really you've got a few ways to get there. You've got Route 83, which runs north and south through Parker up to 470. Now, 470 here is a toll road from I-25 all the way up and east, which gets you over to DIA at the airport. Or you can head west first to get to I-25, which goes north and south all the way through downtown Denver. Or you can continue heading up 83 to 225, which will get you to most of the eastern part of town, Aurora, all the way up into Brighton, Commerce City, if you need to head up that direction. And if you are needing to head out of DIA, even during rush hour, you're looking at about a 35 to 40-minute drive through using 470, but remember, that is a toll route. If you want to avoid the tolls, you're looking at a solid hour, even at off-peak times. And if you're looking to do a hike or a trail run, you can head over to Hilltop Trail, which is kind of a weave of a number of different trails right outside of town. Or if you want to be a little bit more secluded, you can head further down to the southwest over to one of our favorite places, Gateway Mesa. Now, I will say, if you go to Gateway Mesa, have your bearings about you. It's a lot of rocky plateaus, and so the trail is is not always easy. We've been there a couple of times in the last few years, and we did get lost on the last time there. Ended up going for a 5-mile hike when we were thinking something like 2.5 to 3 to start off with. And there are cactus around here, cactus. Rattlesnakes can be a thing, so just be aware of where you're going. Letting a dog off a leash in these areas, expect them to probably step on a cactus. So just be prepared for that. We do keep our dogs on leashes when we go in these areas just because, it's a little bit more of a high desert feel to them. And if you're a skier living in Parker and you want to get to the high country during most times of the year, it's a solid 2 hours without much traffic. Expect about 2.5 hours with traffic. And that 2 hours will get you to most places like Breckenridge, Copper, Keystone, or you can drive a little bit shorter in about an hour and a half without any traffic. You can get yourself to A Basin and Loveland. And on a bigger scale, the median commute time in Parker for its residents is 23.7 minutes, with 14% of people having a commute time of 45 minutes or longer. And that's going to be mostly people that are commuting to, the Denver area. So Parker is what they consider a home rule municipality, which basically means that they just kind of started the town at some point. There's no real defined date stamped on it like a lot of cities out there. Part of the big draw to Parker many years ago, 30 plus years ago, was that it wasn't too terribly far from downtown Denver. Because if you come from a big city, LA, San Francisco, New York, Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, you know what a commute time looks like. If you're going 20 miles to the other side of town, that might take you 45 minutes to an hour on a good day. Now, here, it can be 20 miles from downtown Denver from downtown Parker, and on a good day, if there's not much traffic, it could take you 20 to 30 minutes. So there was a real appeal because there was space to spread out. There was space to have 40 acres on a property with your own horse. But in the year 1990, look at this graph of the population increase. In 1990, there were about 5,000 people in the city of Parker. As of 2021, there's over 60,000 people. That is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, and for good reason. It's somewhere that we've always been attracted to, and we do hope to get out on one of those properties with land over the next few years. And when COVID hit, a lot of people started taking to wanting more land, realizing that maybe their condo or townhouse didn't provide them the freedom that they wanted to be able to do their own gardening, grow any of their own food. We've seen a huge increase in the amount of people that want to take care of themselves, and really, you need land to do it. And so during 2020 and 2021, the amount of people that were flocking to areas like Parker, like Castle Rock, further down in southwest parts of Denver with more land, it was like a great migration out of the cities to areas with more land. A lot of people could work from home, and Parker was a big beneficiary of that movement. And here's that money.com article, and I'll actually have a link in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. But basically, they're listing Parker as the number 2 city to live in the entire country. And really, it looks like most of their rating is based on economy and income and health and safety, which of course is going to bring Parker to the top of that list. But I also love heading over to niche.com. I'll have a link in the description below as well for them. You can look up anything you want, any city, any school around the country, and they have basically report cards and detailed stats breakdown. And it really helps to get to know a little bit of an area if you're unfamiliar with it. So taking a look at the report card off of niche.com, we get an overall rating of an A. Not surprising, most of the Denver metro area does get an A rating. B is not very common. But to break down each individual category, A- for the public schools, they do have a great public school system. B- for housing, that's going to be because of where prices are at. We're above the national averages for housing prices, so we get stacked lower on rating housing. A is good for families. There's a ton of stuff to do in Parker, from their new community center to outdoor activities. Lots of people do own horses around here, so doing things outside is extremely easy for families in the Parker area. There's still lots of space. There's tons of stuff to do. It's really family oriented. Cost of living is a C. Once again, housing prices are up there. A for outdoor activities. Pretty obvious. B- for crime and safety. We are the car theft capital of the world, all over the Denver metro area. No idea why. I know I say this in every video, but that's typically why we're rated low on crime and safety. If we get that pegged down, man, we're going to be in A's in everything across the board. B+ for nightlife. This is a smaller town feel to it. You're not going to have a lot of bars. You're not going to have any clubs to go out to at 2 a.m. You're going to have some bars that have bands there, but come 10, 11 o'clock, a lot of stuff is really starting to shut down. So keep that in mind. If you do want the nightlife, Parker probably isn't for you. B+ for diversity, B+ for weather. It does get pretty windy in Parker. I will say that I do love the weather all around Colorado. I mean, I'm from Chicago originally. Humidity is high, heat is high, cold is cold. But here, 30 degrees is still sweater weather. 95 degrees, if you go in the shade, you're still cool because the humidity is 10 to 15% on average. But Parker gets some serious winds, and it's not uncommon to have 50, 60 mile per hour gusts, even during a regular day without a storm coming. Health and fitness, well, we're in an A, just like most of the Denver metro area is, and B for commute. There's no real direct arteries or highways that connect Parker to the rest of the city. As for parks around Parker, Colorado, there's a couple dozen parks, and they maintain about 380 acres of developed parkland with about 1,300 more acres of just open space, with about 38 miles of trail systems throughout the town of Parker. And I can say that our favorite park in Parker is actually at Bayou Gulch on the southern part of this map, just south of the Pinery, which is a huge home community, but it's a combination dog park, regular park, and mountain bike trail system that runs throughout it with a bunch of ramps built, some features for mountain biking, as well as some pump tracks. This is a really great park, and it's never busy. So just don't take my word for it on the quality of Parker, Colorado. What you can do on niche.com, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you will actually see reviews written by the city, by people that live there. So Douglas County is the school district for Parker, which consists of 90 schools with about 63,000 students. And the student-to-teacher ratio sits at 17-1 on average, and 100% of them have more than 3 years of teaching experience. So I'll have a link down below actually for Great Schools, which goes over all of the stats on the Douglas County School District. Because being a real estate agent, I can't talk too in depth about the details about the school district, but feel free to check that out, and hopefully it answers all of your questions. Now let's talk about something really important here, which is going to be Parker's real estate, because whether you rent, whether you own, it does affect your quality of life. So starting with the high-level overview of real estate prices in Parker, what have they done over the last 10 to 15 years? Well, we can see here in 2010, the median sales price for Parker was $270,000. And fast forwarding to January of 2023, so a 13-year period, we peaked out at $682,000 as the median sales price. We're since then down to $663,000, but the entire country has adjusted a little bit over this last 12 months. So Parker, Colorado in the last 13 years has increased in value 192% versus the national average at about 95%. So how does the median home price of $663,000 stack up in comparison to the rest of the Denver suburbs? Well, let's check it out. We've got Castle Rock sitting at $655,000, and that's just to the west. Not truly a Denver suburb, but it has a similar feel to it as Parker a little bit. Morrison to the west is sitting at about $725,000 for its median sales price. Denver sitting at $567,000 for its median sales price. Lakewood at $535,000, and Aurora at $479,000. Now let's take a look at reality and see what $663,000 can actually buy you in Parker today. by the time you're seeing this, likely these houses aren't going to be available for sale anymore because the average time on the market is 2 weeks or under if you're priced right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a list of preferred Parker homes down in the description below. You can click on that and see that list, and you can also have that delivered to your inbox every day if you want. So now is a perfect time to go over what your monthly mortgage payment is going to be at the median sales price of $663,000. Now, if you're looking from out of state, pay attention to this because there's something that most calculators don't utilize, which is the sales property tax. Ours is extremely low in comparison to the rest of the country. And in fact, once again, we are third lowest in the country for property taxes. So make sure you take that into consideration. You're not going to be paying $8,000 to $10,000 a year in property taxes. It's going to be more like $3,000 a year. So factor that into your payments. So what we have here at $663,000 with a 20% down payment on a 30-year fixed mortgage at 7%, which is what rates are currently at today, figuring in property taxes of about $3,300 a year, with home insurance being at $2,400 a year, no condo or HOA fees calculated into this, you're looking at just around $4,000 a month. So beyond your mortgage, what is the cost of living like in Parker, Colorado? So we can take a look here and we can see overall, we're about 13% above the national average for our total cost of living. That's fairly high. Housing is going to make up the biggest one of that. It's 37% above the national average, but everything else is below or on par. So minus 13% in utilities, minus 6% in groceries, and just at the national average for transportation. And if you're interested in one of my other favorite suburbs around the Denver metro area, check this video out about Littleton, Colorado.